Fast growth destroys companies surprisingly often. Revenue rises, demand surges, everything looks successful. Then the structure begins failing underneath the growth. Systems slow down, operations fracture, momentum turns fragile. Most companies think scale means selling more. Amazon reframed it differently. Scale was not a sales problem, it was an engineering problem. That single shift changed every decision afterward. The focus moved from short-term output to long-term structural capacity. Most organizations confuse momentum with stability. When profits rise, they optimize for more profits. Quarterly metrics become the operating logic. But infrastructure is expensive, slow, often invisible, so foundational work gets delayed while demand keeps accelerating. Success outruns capacity. That is the structural failure. Growth without reinforcement eventually collapses under its own weight. This is where most people freeze. But at Solver's Studio, we go to our toolkit, the Solver's 6. The tool here is reframing, perception. Reframing changes the meaning of the problem itself. Amazon stopped viewing growth as a financial event. They viewed it as an engineering challenge. That single shift changed every decision afterward. The focus moved from short-term output to long-term structural capacity. First, shift the frame from revenue to infrastructure. Revenue is an output. Infrastructure is the engine producing it. That changes the question completely. Not how do we earn more now, but what must exist to support triple the scale. The organization stops optimizing for transactions. It starts optimizing for durability. Next, shift the frame from cost to investment in capacity. Most companies see warehouses, logistics, and servers as expense. Amazon saw them as future stability. The spending looked painful in the short term, but structurally it expanded capacity before collapse arrived. A cost drains the present. Capacity protects the future. Finally, shift the frame from competition to internal optimization. Reactive companies copy competitors. Resilient companies strengthen their operating system. Amazon focused less on matching rivals and more on building unmatched logistics, speed, and efficiency. The advantage became structural. Competitors sold products. Amazon built infrastructure. Reframing perception changes the architecture of growth. Revenue becomes infrastructure. Cost becomes capacity investment. Competition becomes internal optimization. The goal shifts from fast expansion to stable scale. The same mistake appears in personal growth. People collect certifications, titles, and visible skills. They optimize for fast validation. But identity is infrastructure, discipline, thinking, communication, resilience. Those systems are slower to build and harder to display, yet they determine long-term stability. Real growth begins when learning stops being skill collection and becomes identity construction. Sustainable scale is never accidental. It is structural. Most collapse begins long before the visible failure appears. The problem is usually hidden in the frame itself. When perception changes, the correct priorities become obvious. That is the power of reframing.